The One Academy is the heart of our company. Cryptocurrency is not an easy product. It's a very innovative product based on technology and based on very, very complex concepts. For us to be part of this financial revolution, to be part of cryptocurrency and of a community, we need to understand exactly what we do and what we talk about. And this is why we have the One Academy. The One Academy provides you with concepts, provides you with explanation on cryptocurrency and on the financial world. I would encourage everybody to join the courses, to do the certificates, and to understand thoroughly how to use cryptocurrency, what cryptocurrency is, and how we can change the world by using cryptocurrency. One Academy. Learn today, lead tomorrow.
Blessed good morning and good day to everyone from the Caribbean and around the rest of the world. Thank you for being on the call. My name is Maureen Brown and I'm from Barbados. I am your host today. Just a reminder, as our founder, Dr. Ruja, just said, we are learning today so we can lead tomorrow. We are continuing with the Super TED series this week because it can be used to initiate conversations with parents, neighbors, friends, family, and loved ones about the world of cryptocurrency and the importance of becoming financially literate. It also gives us the opportunity to leave a lifelong legacy with our children and our nation's children. The Super TED series is an initiative created by the One World Foundation, which is part of the ecosystem of One Life and the heartbeat of our founder, Dr. Ruja. The One World Foundation gives all of One Life members the opportunity to donate and give back to the communities they operate in. The Adventures of Super TED is a series of comic books on financial education for children from ages 5 to 12 years old. The series aims to empower children to become independent and productive citizens who understand the basic concepts of money and finance. The content is developed by a team of financial experts, entrepreneurs, illustrators, and people with teaching experience. This ensures that the comics and the video lectures are adapted for children to explore the material at their own pace in their free time. It is made so kids can learn about money and financial institutions while having fun. Remember, it is an interactive session, so please put your questions and comments in the chat box. Also, we will allow 1 or 2 contributions at the end of the discussion unless otherwise stated. One Academites, Dr. Ruja has said, together we'll keep changing the world. Larry Pereira, over to you and the rest of the team. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Maureen. How are you this morning?
I'm well, and how are you?
Oh, I'm blessed. I trust that you had a fabulous weekend.
Yes, I did. I always do.
All right, great. So, welcome again, One Academites, and of course, wherever you are in this big blue planet we call Earth, good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're on our continuing series with the Super TED Learning, and we really have a treat for you this week because this week for the next 4 days, we have an all-woman presentation, all women presentations and presenters, and it's going to be amazing. So we're going to celebrate women this week. Hats off to all you women out there who really are taking it to the next level. Patrice, good morning to you. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Mr. Larry Pereira. I'm doing excellent. And how are you?
Well, I'm fabulous, and I'm really even more fabulous knowing that you're going to be actually starting this week once again. This week is Women Power. How you feel about that?
Yes, I feel excited, and I'm happy that, you came up with this idea with our founder being a female,
Indeed.
It's fun.
Indeed.
It's fun for us to go in this direction this week.
And men, here's what, celebrate your women too as well, of course, because women are already the foundation. So today, what presents you have for us today, Patrice?
Today we're going to go through the banks and where our money is stored, and going through this, recapping or going through the text of this Super TED series. I have to, say, okay, Patrice, it's just for a few minutes. We only have a short discussion, but there's so much in your mind that comes to mind when you're, teaching or reading this Super TED series, where our money is stored.
Absolutely. So what I will say, Patrice, offload the full thing with full force this morning.
All right, no problem. Thanks for the permission.
All right. All over to you, Patrice.
Okay, good morning, One Academites, and once again, it's a pleasure to be on this call this morning in preparation for where our money is stored is banks, right? As you can see on the screen, banks, where is our money stored? I went through this teaching last night again with my 3 children right before bed, and it was very interesting. So let's get right into this education this morning. So, hi, I'm Super Ted, and together we will explore how banks work. Last time we learned how to save money. We also learned that the banks are one of the safest places to keep our money. But what happens with our money after we put it there? Before we see what happens to our money once it is in the bank, let's see how banks came to exist in the first place. Banks appeared with the development of international trade. Do you remember why coins became impractical to use? You see, coins came in different sizes and had different value. So when banks appeared, their job was to exchange those coins to trade, so trade could happen easier. And we would pause there and go back to the history of money, because they're actually asking you to reference the history of money there. We knew that there was bartering first, and then we saw the issues which we spoke about last week with bartering, and that took us to the second page of why coins were invented. So I'm reading right now from the history of money. You could just follow on the screen for now. So rulers made coins from precious metals like bronze, silver, and gold. They were more comfortable to carry around than the products themselves, and even better. People could give an exact value to the things they traded. This developed trade, and people started to exchange large quantities of goods at great distances. So here we see international trade. Now we are able to trade with people from great distances, meaning other countries. So this was the introduction of international trade. At a certain point, however, it became impractical and risky to carry around bags with gold. In order to protect their wealth, people started to leave their gold at the bank. In exchange, they received a note from the bank called a banknote, which stated how much gold they had there. Then they exchanged these notes between themselves, and the gold remained safely in the vault. Okay, eventually banknotes became widespread and used all over the world. Every country had its own currency. Trading developed even more and now happens across the whole world. So instead of carrying their money with them, traders sent money via bank transfer against a fee. That was safer and more convenient for them. So that was us referencing the history of money and understanding as they're asking. So now we're going back to where our money is stored in the banks. And they asked here, do you remember why coins became impractical to use? So because, of course, it was difficult to carry around large sums of money, and also the risk of really having that money in your home and it being stolen, right, through theft. So you see, coins came in different sizes and values and had different values. This exchange actually happened on the benches near the market. This is where the name bank comes from. You could take a note of that. Banco in Italian means bench. I only learned that from the Super Ted. Eventually, banks started doing much more. They started giving money to people to start a business. I would like to start a business and need funding, the bank says. Sure, let's see what we can do for you. Here are my details of my business plan. Do you approve my loan request? They also reduced the risk of trade and theft. People kept their money in the bank instead of their homes, reducing the risk of theft. And there we see an angry bandit. How annoying, another house that has no money. I give up. Merchants could also use the bank to pay other traders instead of carrying money around with them. Simply said, banks have two functions: to keep money and to give money. Putting your money in the bank is called a deposit, and borrowing money from the bank is called a credit. And now we have that in the form of credit cards. Banks use the money from people's deposits to give out credits. Then they collect their money back with interest. When they collect it back, they pay interest to the people who left their money in the bank. So you see in the little comic there, all right, time to pay back the money we lent you. That's the bank speaking to one of the persons that would have borrowed money from the bank. And of course, to the depositors, the bank says, thank you for entrusting us with your money. And they pay whatever interest on the money that was deposited there. The price for using someone else's money is called interest. The interest on credits is much higher than the interest on deposits. Banks make their money from the difference between the interest they receive and the interest they pay. So last night, while I was going through this part of the teaching, I normally would just break it down a little bit for them to understand. And I was explaining to them that, let's say, for instance, Kiara, that's my 6-year-old, Kiara has $1 and she puts that into the bank. And Hadia, you want to purchase, that's my 8-year-old Hadia, you want to purchase a tablet. And you do not have money to purchase your tablet. So you go to the bank now and try to borrow money. What they do is give you the money that Kiara puts into the bank. They lend you that money and they charge you an interest. So they tell Kiara, you're going to get 1 cent for putting your money with us. And then Hadia, they're going to tell you, you have to pay us back 3 cents when it's time for you to pay back that dollar to us. So the 2 cents in between would be for the bank. And before I even explained that, my 8-year-old said, so the 2 cents, the bank will keep the 2 cents? I said, yes, that's how they make their money. And then my 6-year-old said, wait, do I even know that they lend my money? And she said, I think it will be unfair if they don't tell me, they should tell me that, they're lending out my money. And I said, okay, so this is how the bank normally operates. So while banks started as benches near the market to exchange money, today they do so much more. Banks keep our money safe and give us credits to develop our business or buy expensive things like cars and houses. They also provide safe money transfer and online payment of bills and services. Banks make their money from taxes on their services and interest on credits. Banks have a very important function in our economy, as credits are the main way people buy houses, cars, and start businesses. Without banks, we would have to save up for years and years before we can afford all that. While with credit, you can afford these things by paying for them in small amounts every month. Now let's go back a bit on this discussion here with the bank. So you put deposits in and credits you take out. People borrow money from the bank. And I want us to reference the One Academy without going into too much, the manual, Introduction to Finance, and to explain fractional reserve banking. So in this short part here, let me just get I don't want to just read through the entire thing. So let me just get a point here of how it used to be historically. Should have printed this out. Okay, let's just go over fractional reserve banking. Here we should dive into a little more detail of fractional reserve banking. In a nutshell, it means that only a fraction of the deposits that are stored at the bank or at the central bank, as we will see later on, while the other part of the deposit is given away by the commercial bank in the form of credit. Historically, this was not the case. So what used to happen? 2 separate types of banks existed, deposit and credit banks. The former, deposit banks, had the only obligation to be a safe keeper of the money, while the latter did not receive deposits. Instead, it acted with credit only and profited by the interest spread. However, the 2 types were merged, and today's commercial banks act both as depositories and as creditors. In this scenario, when a bank receives a deposit and gives away part of it as credit, while keeping some fraction as a reserve, hence the term fractional reserve, it actually creates new money out of thin air. How is this possible? And I had to pause and really go back to the fractional reserve banking because, of course, we know the purpose of which banks were created initially, but we need to understand what happened and what really, if I could say, for want of a better word, mess up the whole scene. So let's say a deposits on a demand deposit 100 monetary units at the bank. It, on the other hand, gives 90 of them as a credit to B, leaving 10 monetary units as a reserve. Now we end up with 190 monetary units in this tiny system. So in the system is really 190 monetary units. So instead of just 100, because both A and B simultaneously can pretend to be the owner of the said resources, let me just reread that. So what they're saying here is, we have 190 monetary units in the system, in the banking system, because simultaneously, A, the depositor, has, known to my daughter, she has 100 monetary units at the bank. However, they also lent credit. So B simultaneously has 90 units, money units of credit. So this mechanism is called bank multiplier. And for a whole system of interconnected banks through more complex calculations allows for the creation of up to 10 times more money than the size of the original deposit. This is the picture which is closest to the financial realities in the world today. For individual depositors, this means a very cheap and easy way to obtain additional financing, but at the cost of systemic risk, into which the commercial banks operate. Because as we should see down below, they are very prone to fail once they cannot meet their obligation to the individual depositors and creditors. And we will come back to that in a little while. What really happens when it fails? And this is the reality of what happens with banking in banks as they operate. So the little fact section here, did you know that banks in Norway no longer accept cash payments? We went through that in the first series, The History of Money. The country is so used to using cards and online payments that paper money is almost gone. The people of Norway have decided to get rid of paper money altogether by 2020. Every country, okay, so did you know also, let's move down, that every country has a central bank which prints its money? This bank also issues rules for the other banks in the country and keeps all the country's money and reserves. So that brings us to the end of this series and of this reading. And when I discussed this with my children last night, the part of where central bank prints the money, it flew over their head a little bit. They didn't really, realize the repercussions of that. I did not go into detail of that explanation with them, but in my mind I said, this is what really messed up the entire scenario. So I want to just play a short video here, and please excuse me because I had all of this pulled up on my computer, literally stopped working, and I had to restart. So it's the gold standard. Just bear with me. Oh, all right. So before we go through the video, just to make sure that we are flowing, I'm going to recap a little bit. So we literally discussing what where our money is stored and how banks work. So we know we have depositors put their money into the banks, and creditors take their money out of the bank. So the bank was really created for us to have a safe place to store our money and not currency. So the money was at the bank, the gold coins were at the bank, and we got what we call a bank note, as we saw with in the history of money. We got a bank note. So you could have literally go into the bank and hand in your bank note and receive gold coins in return. However, as they hinted to the bottom here, that the central bank literally prints money. That's their function, one of their functions. They print money and lend it to the other bank. So I could not resist but really go into this video about the gold standard, and it's just 1 minute and 29 seconds. Let's enjoy it together.
Almost 2,600 years ago, the first gold coins were minted and used for trade. Later on, people started storing their gold in well-guarded vaults and bought goods and services using the receipts given to them by those running the vaults. Pieces of paper they could always exchange for real gold. That's how paper money first appeared, and things evolved from there. Initially, most currencies were pegged to gold directly, as the name gold standard suggests. People could walk into a bank and exchange a piece of paper money to gold. After 1945, however, this changed. Currencies were pegged to the dollar, which was pegged to gold at a rate of $35 per ounce. Individuals were no longer allowed to exchange paper money to gold, but central banks were. However, countries such as France ended up no longer trusting the US dollar and started converting their dollars to physical gold. The gold reserves of the US were getting depleted quickly, so President Nixon stopped allowing that. He took the United States, and thereby the world, off anything even resembling a gold standard in 1971. At this point, the money we use isn't backed by anything tangible. Fiat currencies, as they're called, are basically backed by confidence. The dollar is backed by the confidence people have in the US, the British pound by people's confidence in the UK, and so on. The value of one currency compared to another therefore fluctuates continuously. Confidence-driven supply and demand, if you will.
All right. So that gives us a better understanding of what really happened and why we ended up with currency.
Why did the United States leave
1 second. Yes. So that that gives us an idea of why we ended up with currency instead of money at the banks. So yes, initially, as we saw the reasons why the bank is good, the bank was created for that purpose, for us to keep our money safe, for us to be able to get credit to afford homes and whatever. But when the problem really, when the problem started, I should say, is when banks started printing their own money after the gold standard was removed. Actually, even before the gold standard was removed, they were printing money. But when we see as France and those other countries started taking back their gold when they lost trust in the US dollar, President Nixon, he decided to remove the gold standard because gold was depleted at the Federal Reserve. So my question in my mind was, why the other countries didn't immediately start kicking a fuss. And Larry, I want to bring you on to let's just have a conversation because that was really on my mind.
Yes, absolutely. Patrice, first of all, are you having any classes anywhere in Trinidad concerning your Super TED? You are you are such a prolific teacher. I need to sit at your feet.
Not as yet. I want to. It's the intention.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be in one of those classes for sure.
Hey guys, let me interrupt you here for a quick second, please. Normally I don't do these kind of things, but let me interrupt you guys, turn on my camera. I'll show you guys this young fella here. I know you have no idea who he is or what's going on, but this is Mr. Duncan Arthur. This is the man responsible for the Dear Shaker platform and the improvements that's taking place and is going to continue to happen. He's not going to say much, but he's actually waiting on his car. He's packed in the bag. He's going to disappear right now. But truly, some of the people you're looking forward to coming to Caribbean. Maybe.
Hey. Never looked forward to anything more in my life. I really, really hope to see Deal Shaker is the future of our network, so let's make it happen. And I look forward to meeting you all and seeing what we can do.
All right, Mr. Duncan. Thanks a lot for your time. Appreciate you hiring me.
Keep well, eh?
Yes, brother. Blessings. Thanks a lot. All right, guys. Carry on with the great conversation about this money, man. And that's money we were just talking about there, too. Deal Shaker is money, man. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for your time. Sorry about disturbing your amazing teaching that Larry was just expounding on. Hallelujah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Diamond King. Absolutely, Patrice. So, first of all, you did an excellent job. I know we talk about banks and how this whole thing started.
Yes.
So, and anything specific you want to add this morning that's on your mind?
Well, I actually reached the point my girl just got up and came into the room and invaded
Right.
my session here.
Okay, that's great.
2 out of 3 of them. You'll just say good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Why don't we give them a little 1 or 2 minute spread, Patrice, as it relates to what they've been learning so far with the Super TED?
Sure. Hadia, you wanna talk? All right, go ahead. You're not gonna read. They love reading, so they think they're gonna read, but you're not
Awesome.
You're just gonna explain anything you want, anything you have learned so far in One Academy, anything you wanna say, no pressure.
The part of the book.
You wanna read a part of the book. Okay, just go ahead quickly.
Absolutely, we have the time.
How annoying, another host that has no money. I give up.
So that was interesting to them, that there was the bandit was upset. So Hadia, what you wanna add? Anything she wants to.
This exchange actually happened on the benches near the market. This is where the name bank came from. Banco. In Italian, it means bench.
Okay, so that was her explaining that Banco is Italian for bench. You wanna just say anything at all? What One Academy has done for you or taught you, Hadia, before we come off?
Yeah.
Anything? Go ahead. Everybody's listening right now.
It taught me from the first thing. What taught me? It's bartering.
Bartering. Okay. Anything else?
It taught me bartering. And it also taught me how to exchange money.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? That's it? All right, Larry, they've been a bit shy this morning, but I'm grateful that they are up and really, able to even speak on the call. So I'm proud of them, really proud of them.
Well, hats off to you, Patrice. I mean, I know you've been doing a lot of work in terms of ensuring that their education is solid. And I want to really, say to you, I mean, it's amazing, and they are blessed to have a mother like yourself.
Sure.
And by extension, King James, to have parents now who understand the value of real education for the first time.
Of course.
You could imagine if we had this education when we were their age.
Exactly.
Wow, it's amazing. It's just amazing. So we're wrapping up this morning, but before we go, we talk a little bit initially where we said that banks came out as a result of international trade. And the reason why international trade flourished, it has a lot of economics attached to that and political and so on, was the threat of risk, so hence the reason why, banks came up, because people needed a place to put their money safely, right? Is that what I understand?
Correct, yes.
So you said that, there were 2 types of banks initially, one that kept the money, which we call deposits, and the other one that lent money, which we call credits.
However, they merged eventually.
And they merged, and this is where this whole thing with fractional reserve came into effect?
Correct.
And this fractional reserve is really something that really confuses a lot of people. You just want to expand a little bit on this fractional reserve again, Patrice, because a lot of people really don't believe that the banks literally have the authority to print money.
Correct. And I had no idea. And of course, as the One Academy said, out of thin air, I really, as a lay person who is not into finance and, Mr. Maloney, who would go deep into these things, I really didn't realize that that's what was happening. But the bank literally takes deposits, so they keep a certain amount. Let's say they keep $10 on every 100. It varies from bank to bank, but just for explanation, and they lend out to creditors the difference. And at the same time, the depositor believes that they have $100 at the bank, securely safe there. I don't know if you want me to go into, I'm actually quoting from the One Academy, when it really, the bridge really breaks and what happens at that point. If we are going to go into...
Yes, you please, you go ahead.
Any of that, okay.
I think it's very important that, all our One Academites really do understand this, because this is a very important topic that affects all of us.
Right. So when the bank bridge breaks, most of the time banks act as intermediaries without a breakage in this function. What that means is that they receive money from investors and give credit to the borrowers. while in the process, they benefit from the difference between the two, as we saw earlier. However, in order to maximize their profitability, banks are inclined to give credits for longer periods since the interest for them is higher. Sometimes, on the other hand, investors and households prefer to put money on deposits with shorter maturity. This discrepancy in and of itself will not be devastating for the markets if banks were obliged to the historical rule to keep 100% of the savings of their depositors. However, today the reserve rate is much smaller. For instance, in the European Union, banks are required to keep only 1% of the deposits as reserves, while the other 99% of them can be distributed as new credits. In this way, they create bubbles and basically new money. Since both their creditors and lenders have legal rights over the same sum of money simultaneously. But what else does this fractional reserve mean? It means that when a discrepancy in the interest rate occurs, the banks will not be able to meet the demands by the depositors and creditors. When the depositors come to ask for their money back, the bank will not be able to repay them, since they are currently given to the bank's borrowers, who can repay their debts in a long period of time, sometimes even over a decade from now. An investor should at least be familiar with this feature of the banking system. In a nutshell, what the fractional reserve system of today means is that the credit institutions are prone to overexposure to risk and to failure. Usually a situation when a lot of depositors and creditors require their money. This is called a bank run. When creditors require when a lot of the depositors and creditors require their money, that's called a bank run. During such period, not only a bank can easily fail, especially without the support of the government or the central bank, but it can also trigger the burst of a bubble in a concrete sector or sectors whose effect we already have covered earlier, being the financial crash in 2008, okay, this in the beginning of this manual. Furthermore, due to the great interconnectedness between the banks within the banking system, a failure of one of them can also trigger a chain reaction of bank runs for the other institutions, thus exposing them to the risk as well. So what they're talking about there is when people begin losing faith in the banks, in banks and the banking system, a bank run could occur, not just for example, well, I don't want to call any bank names, but not just for Bank A, but when people see that Bank A has crashed, they start losing faith in banks and pulling their money out of the banks, and it just causes an entire crash of the financial system. Larry, back over to you if you have any questions or last comments.
Absolutely, Patrice, very good comment that you made here, and really want to remind One Academites that this is just the beginning, and you really need to go and do some due diligence. There is a book that I sometimes would have quoted when I did One Academy Level 1, and it's Creature from Jekyll Island. You could take a look at the Federal Reserve. It's by G. Edward Griffin, and I would strongly advise you to actually get that. You can actually go Google it. You might get a free version that you could actually read a PDF that really helps you to understand really what the Federal Reserve is about, because I believe many persons, I wouldn't say anybody on the One Academy calls now because they've been sensitized to it, but many people generally when you meet them, they are so amazed that you mean the bank can do that? The bank actually prints money? Are you sure they can do that? And they're so oblivious to the fact that the financial system is really something that is totally isolated from their daily lives. They don't realize that all of these things are actually happening within the whole confines of their daily lives.
Correct.
And I think it is important with what we're learning here this morning to really go out there, share this information. That is why the One Academy is the key, you know. The One Academy is really to help lay the foundation for all of us to really take this education to the next level.
Right.
You know? So I know it's already 23 minutes, but time always is going fast. I wish we had another half an hour with you, Patrice.
Yes, Larry. Just one other thing in the end, of course, in teaching them, we went into the conversation about cryptocurrency, of course.
Yes.
Because I know the One Academy sometimes mention it, and in the manuals on
It was introduced because the banking system was in the middle, and if you wanted to send something,
you're hearing her, Larry?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, go ahead.
If you wanted to send something to somebody, you'd have to give it to the bank, and the bank would have to give it to them. And that's why cryptocurrency came in. Now you could send it to people without giving it to the bank.
Wow, right, that's awesome.
That's the explanation. So the bank cryptocurrency is really introduced to, remove the bank as being a middleman between us, and now we can trade without even trade amongst ourselves, person to person, without being concerned about, as we know, the security of the blockchain technology. And of course, we went into our OneCoin, our cryptocurrency, and the reason why, as us being centralized, why we have, could feel safe trading with the OneCoin cryptocurrency. So it's so much. I mean, there's so many things I can go into, but right back over to you, Larry.
Absolutely, Patrice. Thank you so much for this morning presentation. It was amazing. And guys, this is really why I really commend Patrice, because when we speak on many times, we talk about how you actually research things. You notice how when we were reading, when actually Patrice was reading, she actually referred back to the original manual when she started with the Super TED with the bartering system. That's how we generally do things, and it's actually a secret to really how you actually study, that you really want to cross-reference materials, even with the One Academy, even with the manual, even with other materials. All right? So it's very, very important. So Patrice, looking forward to having your sister on tomorrow. Patricia, another powerful and dynamic speaker. She is bilingual, and who knows, give her a chance, she might be speaking many other languages as well. All right, so have yourself a great day as we wrap up this call now. Patrice, have yourself a wonderful day.
Same to you, Larry. God bless.
God bless. Yes, wonderful. We just have a few minutes, but I just want to actually make reference to what has been said so far in the chat room. And I just want to clarify a few things for us to really understand, so that we really leave the call with a greater sense of clarity. And I'm happy that your daughter actually talked about cryptocurrency, Patrice. And what I really want you guys to understand is that cryptocurrency is not about supplanting the value of gold. Gold will always be the ultimate store of value. I didn't say this. Some of the leading financial experts, the central bank, the World Gold Council, you can go see it for yourself, has always been. So we are not competing with 6,000 years of recorded history, but gold has obviously outperformed every single fiat currency in the world. Cryptocurrency is designed by principle to compete with fiat currency, not with gold, because gold is the ultimate source of a standard value. So the cryptocurrency is a more lucrative and easier way. And of course, it has been attributed to gold simply because you can't print more of it. So I think the concept behind gold is not to compete with value. Gold will always have a standard value. The financial world agrees with that. So we're not really going to touch into gold. What we're really saying is that cryptocurrency now is compared as to gold because of the behavior, because of what it will do. Of course, I had a very interesting conversation over the weekend with one of the most prominent lawyers in Trinidad and Tobago, and he was actually talking about some of those things. He didn't really understand what fiat currency was about, but he did make mention about the legal ratifications of where cryptocurrency is going to go and where the serious disruption is taking place, because it's like a cancer that's developing. And we know, and he even mentioned that our government here in Trinidad and Tobago is not really going to see the benefit of cryptocurrency right now until it becomes a cancer. So we are developing the cancer, but he said the cancer, but I mean, I don't like using that word. But what we're saying is that it's going to get so exponentially large that all governments of the world will have no choice but to implement. And that's where we come in terms of building the community, in terms of ensuring that people, or persons rather, understand the value, understand the financial system. So you understand why it's important. You see how Super TED is really supplanting that. Very quickly, I want to actually introduce Noel, because Noel actually has a radio program this morning. Noel, good morning to you. I want to actually have you comment this morning on your program on WAC Radio 90.1, starting about 5 minutes after 10. Good morning to you, sir.
Hi, good morning, Larry. Good morning to all One Academites and all the diamonds and leads with this wonderful
Yes, sir.
chat.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a delight to hear Patrice and the children, so humble, so amusing, inspiring, and educating. It is really, really powerful. Could you imagine if all our One Academites children were on this call? Could you imagine if this type of tutorship and leadership is encouraged in every home? As I said some time ago, in the Jewish economy, the parents were to have their children taught the knowledge of God. And it was a comprehensive knowledge that include finance, includes academy, different from what was given by Plato, because Plato, the Platonic philosophy, divorced the true God and encourage a pantheistic concept where they defy the actual matter as God. So it is interesting and it is important for us really to teach our children about the history of money, what is money, where money is stored, and so on. So it is a delightful experience to hear Patrice with the children, and we encourage other parents to do the same. As it relates to the radio program, we are on again Radio WAC 90.1 FM, 10:05 today, and we encourage everyone to tune in, send all that information to your donors and to your prospects. One and all, encourage everyone to listen to the program. I'm not too sure who will be my guest today, but we're looking forward to having a great opportunity. Our emphasis will be on Deal Shaker and that crazy, crazy thing that happened in Romania and Bosnia with King James, and it's just crazy where the Deal Shaker is going, and we need to get everybody on board. So everyone, listen to the program. You may see it on YouTube as well, and you have yourself a wonderful and fantastic day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Noel, and I trust you have a fabulous day as well, of course. Remember, it's 5 minutes after 10 local time. That's for Eastern Standard Caribbean time or Atlantic Standard Time. If you're further afield in Jamaica, it will be 5 minutes after 9 in the morning local time there. And of course, further afield, you'll have to check your listing. It's AST, Atlantic Standard Time. All right, so this ends this morning's segment. We're going to continue tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting as we continue tomorrow our lineup, where we're going to be talking about prices, finance, market, supply, and demand. And that's going to be read by none other by our very own Patricia Ryan. Of course, that's Patrice's sister, so you understand that another powerhouse here. This week, we celebrate women in the One Academy, and I think it's very important that we do. Women play a very, very critical role in the whole development, not only family, but they are truly, truly amazing leaders, as you would have seen this morning with Patrice James. Hats off to you, Patrice. All right, so I just want to thank everyone for being on this call. Have yourself a fabulous Monday. This is such a wonderful way to start the week. I'm going to put it back over to you, Miss Marine, to close off this morning as we look forward to tomorrow morning. Have yourself a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Patrice. Oh my goodness, I could continue the whole day with you, my dear, you and your kids. And I'm sure everyone on the call feels the same. Before we end today, I need two persons to speak, Ivan, and then we'll end off with King James, who wants to speak. So Ivan and Michelle Mark, are you there? I'd like to hear from you. You have to unmute your mic, Ivan and Michelle, because I'm not getting it.
Yes, hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Again, a fantastic overview this morning from Patrice. And, you know, she's a very powerful speaker, speaks with a lot of passion, just like her husband. And you see exactly the power of teaching the children this sort of education and having them understand the financial market, even at this age. As Noel says, you know, in the old days, it was the responsibility of the parent to really pass on the information to their children. Yeah. And so it will go for generations to generations. It's only because of this modern day society that we give the ability of teaching our children to someone else, right? And you know the pitfalls with that as well. So I believe that going back again to the old method of school, teaching your children is very, very important. And I wish that more parents would actually take up that responsibility. Actually, you're hearing it more and more. And we have a foundation, in doing that with our children, because we have one of the best and one of the most needed education system out, that is finance. Somebody may be taught how to do certain things, but finance, as Noel said, was taught even to every household of the Jewish community. They have to understand the movement of money. They have to understand trade and commerce. And it is something that we in the Western world has put aside and just went to the factories. So yes, the session was fantastic this morning. And I can't wait to hear more of Patrice and Patricia and maybe Michelle, because being an ex-banker, she would have seen certain things that would have happened in the bank that just kind of would blow your mind, right? If you only know. So of course, that is a discussion for another day. But this is things that we absolutely need right now, and we can only take this into a whole new dimension with Larry, yourself, Maureen, and the other guests that you have speaking on this platform. So I encourage everyone to please take up this One Academy very seriously. And you can see the Super TED has so much to offer, even at that basic level. It's just how it was actually put together that really makes it eye-opening in the sense that it is practical and it just is very, very sensible in its delivery. So I encourage everyone to get your children on this. I have my son also reading the Super TED, and it is far better than playing games and going on YouTube and all this stupidness that we waste a lot of time doing. So with that said, I turn it back over to you, Maureen. Have a great week, everyone. Please do not lose your passion. Do not lose your drive. As you see, King James and the guys are doing a lot over in Romania. I can go across to them. I had some other things to say about, but at the same point in time, this thing is for real, and it is really now going totally into a new gear. So back to you, Maureen. Back to you guys. Have a great week.
Thank you so much, Diamond, Ivan. And last but not least, definitely, we're going to have King James ending the call. King James?
Hey, Maureen, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm fully here, man. Attentive. It is almost 2 p.m. where I'm at. So I don't want to keep you guys too long. I have been in a lot of meetings for the day already, coming out of last night's success. And it is really, really exciting and intriguing to be a part of this whole entire movement. Ivan, you are surely miss my brother. People were asking for you as well. I look forward to hearing Michelle definitely share. Because anytime Michelle speaks to you, raise pause, because Michelle is a powerhouse of her own, especially with her experience in the bank and how she left the bank because she wasn't selling any bank policies, because it might not have been the best for the person who came in for advice. That always sticks to me. It shows the power of a person's heart. I definitely commend, and there's nothing much expected but excellence from my dear wife. Amazing job, darling. Amazing job. I don't know about having each other speak, but we'll have that talk. On another note, however, I want to make sure I put some full perspective, and I think sometimes we get lost in the cause. And I want to put a total view of the comments that were said in the chat and some of the great comments Larry suggested. And there's a fact. Initially, things don't start off as a fight. So I was just having this conversation with Mr. Duncan, and this is why I feel is the need to say some of the things I'm going to say right now. If none of us knew about One Life, forget One Life. One Life didn't exist. OneCoin never existed. Forget it. It never existed. The world is where it is today with cryptocurrency. Had Dr. Ruja tried to start this business 6 months ago, a year ago, or even right now, it's impossible. It cannot be done. It would never come off the ground. The ecosystem and all this stuff that we talk about, great, yes. It would never work right now. And let me make sure I help you understand. Because timing matters. The timing and the window period. I remember having this conversation with Tom McMorran. the timing and the window period in which Dr. Ruja started this project was right in the dispensation when people had no idea, when some thought they knew what they knew, but it was in such a perfect stride that she had a 1.5 year run before the bank started to say, oh my God, she could be a threat to us. And they started to cause the problems with closing down accounts and all that fiasco started to take place. That's the conversation I was just having with the head of the Ishika concept. And what I'm saying is, when you put this together, you understand that this entire run can happen again. So when we look at the coin and the coin concept, initially, gold might not feel threatened, but they were some, because I know of some organizations that offer gold that they had nothing good to say about, not OneCoin, forget OneCoin, cryptocurrency on the whole. They had nothing good to say, nothing positive to say about cryptocurrency. However, when they realized, but wait, this is a space that we could utilize, all of a sudden they come up with coin. Why? Because they want to ride the cryptocurrency wave. I just read an article not too long ago. I posted it in some of the groups if some people have it. Bartercoin, the terrific Bartercoin that came to Trinidad and Tobago, that had persons paying 5,000 TT dollars to go and sit down and listen and to participate in the opportunity of getting some Bartercoins. Oh, how the mighty have fallen and crashed. I remember getting up and I left Ivan and Michelle and Brother Noel. They could attest to this. I couldn't take no more. When people are talking tomfoolery and nonsense and this downgrading your level of education, you cannot sit in the midst of so much of that. So I couldn't take it no more. That's just because I am a little more emotional than some of the others. But I couldn't take it no more. So I had to get up and leave because I had enough. It was enough. We are there today. So when we talk about gold, talk about money, we need to go back to the basic education. And I think a lot of this is missed when we speak. Money is whatever we agree upon. Gold was not money when we have bartering. Money don't exist, period, unless we agree that it exists. So gold cannot come up and go and spend itself. Gold may not hold any value in the next 50 years. One coin may not have any value in the next 1,000 years. We don't know, but what we do know is whatever we agree upon, that is what have value. So when we talk about the education, and we come out of this whole education concept with the whole fiat world, the whole education, we was miseducated about the money. We miseducated about the paper money. Could it be true that we may be miseducated about gold as well? Because let's put it together. The people who own all of the fiat currency is the same people who own the majority of the gold, friends. So is it that we're going to just exchange powers and just give them back the power again so they could do what they want? No. If we educate enough of mankind who can have ownership of their buying power again and say, here what, this is what we want to participate in, because the playing field gets to be fair. So right now, for us, we have the advantage. A year from now, the playing field is not fair anymore. Because now you can mine as much coins as possible. But a year from now, there's no more mining process. So therefore, we are going to be looked at the favorable ones, the ones that was lucky. Like some people like to say, lucky. They don't have no idea that luck has nothing to do with it. But the truth of the matter is, the persons who went and sweat with their sweat ethically, people who went and do that California gold rush, who died on the way, searching for that, were they lucky? No. But they understood that this could have held some value in the future for them. And had those who didn't understand that they could hold value and they did not go on the rush. So when we talk about gold, I just want us to understand what we should really be talking about. We're supposed to really talk about what we agree upon. Because nothing has value. I don't care what it is. Silver, diamond, nothing has value unless we deem it valuable, friends. And that is what One Academy is portraying to us. That is what the Super 10 has just shown us this morning with the whole concept of where the Banco started from and how it started and what people wanted to do. So the change that's taking place every 700 years thereabout with that evolution of money. Don't miss the mark. Don't confuse the mark. And don't misinterpret the mark. Because people need to understand the truth. And it's not my truth. All experts can say what they have been saying about gold, about paper money, about diamond. They can say what they have been saying. They have been proven, the same experts who talk about cryptocurrency have been proven to be wrong now. So the same experts are saying what they want to say about gold, they can be proven to be wrong as well. Time tells. But you know what signifies or separates everything? Level of understanding one has. So let's not sometimes overstand so we misunderstand. But let's truly come together with a harmony of understanding. Everything has this level of purpose. Everything can lead to some level of liquidity, but the usability is what leads to liquidity, and that what matters most with this cryptocurrency. And that's what we have. So experiencing that auction that took place, where some persons are misunderstanding and saying it devalued the coin. No, no. Are you crazy? An auction is what somebody deemed as a prize for them. They are willing to bid whatever it takes. Forget the coin can have no value at the time. But if the person who say, here what, I'm willing to spend 10 million, they may be in a position to spend 10 million. For a person who have 1,000 is looking preposterous to you. But if I have 100 million, 10 million to me might just be seen like 1,000. So it's different because when people go and they auction off the sweaty underwear of a singer, all of a sudden that goes for millions. What happened to those dollars? Those dollars don't have no power no more. But if the person in 1960, those millions is hundreds of millions to them. So I'm just saying all of that to say, friends, we in the greatest dispensation we have ever been in our lives. Let's not forget what is taking place, my friends, and truly relish this chance of learning that we have. Because what has value is whatever we agree upon. Because Dr. Ruja said, money is wherever you and I agree upon is money. I could be thirsty. You could have a pound of one coins, a pound of gold, a pound of this, and you can have 1,000 different things. But at my right time right now, with my thirst, a drop of water is what I need, and I'd be willing to exchange the world for that drop of water. Money is whatever we agree upon, especially when there's a need, friends. So I thank you all for being on the call. I kept you for that 10 minutes. There's a full hour of success, I believe, in the call. I see many persons stayed on to participate in hearing and understanding. I really thank you all. And I'm just telling you guys, me personally, this whole experience here put me on a different stratosphere where I am going to create a pull. And those who want to be pulled and want to come up, great. Those who decide they're not interested in that, great. Anything that you want to do, because everybody is an independent marketing associate. And I think sometimes we forget that. So friends, there's a lot of love to you all, man. Look forward to you building your business and being the best you for the day. Go for out there and make a difference in someone's life. Thank you.
Could I say something, Maureen?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I agree with King with the auction because, you know, when an auction takes place, it's really deemed now by certain people that that particular item has that value. And that is what we have to understand. And he's totally right, where money could be anything that we decide as a community, as a society, even as a family to be, right? You could, your money or your value could come from a service that you think, that is your currency. So when an auction takes place, you have to kind of put it in a different context. When an auction takes place, and if someone decides to purchase or to auction or to have that item for $1 billion, right? That is the value that that person basically puts on that item. So it's all about value perception. And that is key in keeping this whole thing in context. So I take it, King is right, where that auction is concerned, in that that value with that item now becomes that particular price. And that is what it is we have to understand. It may not be the price that we would pay for it. It may not be the price somebody else would pay for it. But it was paid. So therefore, it carries it now to a different level. All right? So we have to understand these things and put it in context. Thanks a lot, King.
Thank you so much, Ivan. Thanks to everyone. We are way past our time, so I will end this call now. Have a great, wonderful, productive One Life day. I see you tomorrow. Thank you again for your sacrifice in the mornings.
Of course. It's inside you. It's inside of all of us. And I don't think it. I feel it. I got this feeling inside. inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on.
And if you want it inside your soul, just open up your heart, let music take control. I got that sunshine in my pocket, that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my pocket when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. The room unlocked the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights, when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. I can see what you're when you dance. You're creeping up on you, so just dance. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance. Ain't nobody leaving, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance. So just dance. So just dance. So keep dancing.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.